Alright, if you couldn't tell from the opening credits, we're going to be talking about Metallica today. Here in the studio at Underground Connection, we have with us Carl Todd, an old friend of mine, and pretty much knows everything about heavy metal, including Metallica, and has just about every Metallica thing you can think of.
Everything except for the very original thing from Metal Massacre 1, Metal Blade put out. I believe it was Hit the Lights.
Yeah.
Nobody has that.
Also, we wanted to give out a few tips for those of you who are not old enough to really know much about Metallica.
The real Metallica, not just the Black
Metallica.
Album Metallica.
Now you may recognize this as being Metallica Kill 'Em All. This was one of their first. This is what started me on Metallica. The thing you have to look out for. Yeah, the thing you have to look out for when you're buying this is
a big gimmick.
That's right. There's a big gimmick. They've left off a couple of their coolest songs on the remakes.
Yeah, for some reason, Electrica put out this. Originally, this was on, I don't know what label, but it was, I think, one of the labels that were local. And originally, Am I Evil and Blitzkrieg was not on there. But then Electrica re-released this when they signed Metallica and added it on here. But for some reason, it's not there anymore on the new releases of it. So,
so if you go shopping for
look
Metallica,
for the old ones.
Yeah, hit your CD warehouses and stuff to try and find an old, scratched-up pawn shop version, because that's the one that's got the cool songs on it. The new ones, they've left off Am I Evil and Blitzkrieg.
And Am I Evil is one of the best songs Metallica ever really made.
Oh,
and it's a lot better than the Diamond Head version, even though Diamond Head was one of the influences of Lars and the rest of the band. But
of course, most of you already know that Dave Mustaine was one of the original members of Metallica.
Of course, Dave from Megadeth. He was the original guitar player, along with Ron McGovern, the original bass player, who they got rid of and got Cliff Burton, who was one of the best bass players that ever existed, until he took a tumble, I guess you'd say.
Gonna miss you. As a matter of fact, there's a video out called Cliff 'Em All. Where is that video?
I don't believe we have Cliff 'Em All available at this. It's right there. We can't grab it right now.
Well,
Cliff 'Em All was...
Trust me, we have it. Let's show a little bootleg off of Cliff 'Em All. This is a little bit of Cliff Burton's bass string wrestling.
Yeah.
Metallica, this is there's a tape out called Metallica Cliff 'Em All, which is a collection of bootleg stuff of
that was back
83 and on.
Yeah, no, actually they have a lot of stuff from the Ultimate Sin tour with Ozzy, which was 86. So it's a lot of the Master of Puppets tour.
It's like 83, 84, 85, 86.
When they first started getting to be big was when they toured with Ozzy, and that's what a lot of this is from. And it's a lot of bootleg stuff, but it's good stuff, back with Cliff. And well, let's take a look at one of his bass solos.
Something. This is Cliff 'Em All.
metal.
That's the Metallica Cliff 'Em All. You can find
We
this.
found it, by the way.
Find it at your Best Buys or.
Now, Cliff 'Em All, the video I believe is still out, but Cliff 'Em All, Garage Days Revisited, which was kind of came out at the same time, is no longer available, and I don't think you can find that booger anywhere.
Yeah, now.
I have looked, although of course I have it.
Metallica.
It's got a big bang on it, but
well, this is a classic, okay? Metallica, the Garage Days Revisited, the $9.98 CD. If you have this, hang on to it. Don't sell it.
You paid $9.98 for it at the time, but now that booger's worth about $50, I would say.
Well, I've seen them go for up to $75 in different shops.
Well, I haven't even seen it. I've looked to get
Now,
another
something
copy.
you got to watch out for is your different CD warehouses where they sell imports and stuff. There's people trying to bootleg this. Well, they'll make a cheap color copy.
There's a lot of
cover,
bootlegs, and
they'll make a bootleg.
we got one right here.
Here's
Matter
one.
of fact, that is a good bootleg though, because it was recorded. When was it recorded? It was recorded, I believe, in '84. But this is pretty good. Now, I've seen a lot of the Metallica bootlegs and actually bought some. I no longer have them because they weren't any good.
Oh no! This one has the Four Horsemen with Hetfield. No, does this one have Mustaine singing on it?
No.
Or he's just credited to writing.
Mustaine was just a guitar player. He wasn't a singer until actually the last few years. He really didn't sing very good with Megadeth.
And he's just now figuring it out, as we can hear from his album. Actually, I like Megadeth. We've interviewed them on Underground Connection.
Yeah.
And they're pretty cool guys. But I tend to pick up the fact that he might be a little bit bitter from not staying
I don't
with Metallica.
think that Dave's
but he's kind of
bitter.
ego
Because
he
Dave
wanted to be Metallica.
Well, I mean, Megadeth has now gotten very big. I mean, it's they're one of the biggest bands, hard rock.
They're still way behind Metallica. They'll never
Yeah,
beat
but
Metallica.
the way we'll get into this later. But the way I look at Metallica now, I would not go as far as to say they've sold out, but they've changed so much, and so have Megadeth. But Megadeth has kept more of a heavy metal attitude. I mean, they still play like what did they play the last time?
The Bomb Factory.
The Bomb Factory.
Yeah.
Now that was something.
See, that was show Underground Connection number 3 when we talked to Nick Medza of Megadeth, and they played the Bomb Factory.
And see, that's what I'm saying. Megadeth still have the heavy metal attitude, whereas Metallica has lost it a lot because
that's true.
They've turned into a commercial band. Whether people want to admit it or not, they're not the same Metallica that even from And Justice for All era, as all these singles they just put down shows.
Of course, you got.
And I don't think Dave's bitter. I mean, they've kind of made up the Hetfield and Lars and Dave, but
Now this one is Ride the Lightning. It's kind of gotten slightly forgotten.
which I don't.
It's more of a T-shirt than a CD nowadays. You'll find a lot of these in the pawn shops because that was kind of a bridge point, kind of a contractual obligation album.
Well, not really. It
They
was
just
kind of
put it
between
out because they
Kill 'Em All sounds completely different than all the rest of the albums, as you can tell. It's more of the new wave of British heavy metal era. I mean, like Venom and bands like that were just thrash. And this is where they started becoming Metallica, but they still had a way to go. Although this has got some good songs, and Fade to Black and For Whom the Bell Tolls is just as popular as any of the others.
Yeah, those are classic, but the
Creeping
CD
Death
itself never did that well.
Some of these songs are great, but the CD was just kind of a throwaway, unfortunately.
Okay, but one of the greatest CDs ever made.
That is, in fact, in my
Master of
opinion,
Puppets.
the best heavy metal CD as far as overall from the heavier side of music ever made.
Plus they talk about drug use in Master of Puppets.
And they talk about how drug use, is bad. And back at this time, Metallica would have been, people would have thought, oh, whoa, they shoot up, they're good. But it shows, the whole song, Master of Puppets, talks about, like you said, drug abuse. And the whole album is just great. It's one of the best besides the one you're holding there.
All right.
I put these two in the same league because this was great, but that's just as good.
Metallica and Justice for All. This was one of the most anticipated metal albums. I remember when it first came out, I was at Kmart and got it the first day it came out. It had the little sticker that says 90 minutes of rock music,
I bought that when records, remember those things? And
Daddy,
it was
a record?
2-record set, matter of fact, and it sold for the same price. But this is what really got me going with Metallica because at the time, I like Metallica, but I thought they were too heavy, I guess.
Yeah, I was the same way.
Yeah.
I was kind of into them. I was into the Kill 'Em All, but this had the way they recorded it had a very eerie sound.
Yeah,
to it.
and
It
the
damn near
drums
scared you.
Lars
You notice how
the
that
drums
bass
so great.
feedback that they would do, that
And it was, I mean,
I used to think it was demons talking about. I was like, man, this is some scary stuff, man.
But you know, really, this album deals with the earth more than anything. I mean, like Blackened is about, you know,
smog and smoking,
and Justice for All is about how the world is messed up and how the government's out to get you, you know. And then there's One, and that is what made Metallica what they are today. One. The video, the song, you know, coincidentally enough,
One was one small step for man, and the downfall of Metallica, kind of.
In a way, but One was
it was
still
their first commercial thing. I mean, when they were playing that on when Z-Rock, remember them?
The real Z-Rock, not 99.1, 94.5, which is now the.
You had to be up on the.
You had Manowar, Slayer,
yeah,
Metallica.
you had to be up on a mountain to pick it up. You know, you couldn't.
But I could pick it up in my little car, and they used to play One like every hour back when it got.
Oh
big.
yeah, it was. And then they finally made a video, which I've got to say, it's a cool video. I mean, the little concept of the guy, you know, with the.
It fits the song. I mean, it goes with the song.
We've seen it a million times. It was Headbangers Balls theme song or something.
Most famous, yeah. And I mean, but the song itself is just. It's great. I mean, it's heavy metal at its extreme. Real, you know, heavy metal, the heavier side of heavy metal, depending on what you want to call heavy metal in this day and age. You can't call it much of nothing, but that was, it showed everything. It had the mellow side, it jammed, it had the double bass, it was perfect.
Of course, this album was the one that gave Metallica their first flavorful taste of cash also. This would probably be the one that gave them the money.
Yeah,
which
because
corrupted them.
You know, and One is still to this day, and people are going to. I think it's still their biggest hit.
It was their Stairway to Heaven.
And even though Enter Sandman and all the other stuff that came out, One I think still went higher on the charts than any of the rest of the singles, which is still neat because it came from And Justice for All and not the old Black O album, which unfortunately is next.
Now comes a album with no title, which
is still 100 on Billboard charts. Came out in 91. This is 96. That's incredible. If what was that show with John Davidson? That's incredible. After
I don't know if
all
that's
these years,
you know, when Enter Sandman came out, I was just so happy to see Metallica
do this like that
on MTV.
There's actually a little snake down there. Otherwise,
everybody has that. If you're watching this, you've got it.
Well,
I've got the tape.
Everybody, 8 million people have it. It sold 8 million copies.
Yeah, that was the one that gave them the money. That's why they're still not doing anything. They're still trying to come down off the beer party that they had when they got paid for that, obviously.
And I remember the day this came out, me and somebody, I forget who it was, like waited in line and got it like at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And I listened to this thing for 3 days solid. 3 days.
I listened to it all summer.
I mean, but I'm telling you, 3 days, I just played it over and over again, and I loved it.
Yeah.
But now I don't love it. After everything is said and done, there's only one song on
Metallica
here.
has lost. Metallica went totally commercial, video after video.
After singles, like all the singles you got over there.
Yeah. See, what is this?
Whoa! Let's see here.
One the single.
Now that's cool though. This actually was bought because it has something on there. What did this have? Oh yeah, it's got one demo, one live, and one everything.
See, Sad But True,
which
also has the Creeping Death live,
which is good,
and the Nothing Else Matters elevator version.
Now that is what I love.
Now
Metallica doing the elevator music.
Now you'll hear Dangerous Darren on 97.1 Eagle. He likes to play that. Which that is available. He claims a lot of his stuff is unavailable. But
This
a lot
is
of
available.
it is available.
We have it, but it's hard to find.
Well, some of the stuff he has, like the demos of Hetfield singing.
Whoops.
You know.
Believe it or not, that's hard to find too, but we have it. Sad but true demo.
Oh, that's got that. La da 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 da. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, he just learned something.
Unforgiven,
which is a rip-off of
Made in Germany.
Oh yeah. I still say with
Nothing Else Matters.
This has got Killing Time, which is an old song.
That's cool. You've got one of them that has Stone Cold Crazy. There it is.
Stone Cold.
The Enter Sandman single. As if you didn't have the CD already.
Yes, so now you got the
single. But
single.
this was a real jerk thing that they did
and
to make extra
people
money.
like me bought it because it had one song on there that I didn't have.
They put one song on there that's worth getting, and then put some other crap that you've already got, like Enter Sandman.
Yes,
so that you go get Stone Cold Crazy. Now, Stone Cold Crazy is a rocking song, and I'm amazed.
Even Queen's original version rocks.
Oh yeah.
What are we still holding this for? Let's do the old boom on that. Yeah, Stone Cold Crazy is a good song. This has got the Enter Sandman demo. Ooh, exciting. Made in England, by the way. Boy almighty.
Alright. Hey, international trade is cool. Well, then they came out with their next generation.
Up everybody. We're ripping Metallica up here.
Well, we're not the first.
Yeah.
Oh well, they'll be alright.
Hopefully Anthrax don't fall again like they did earlier.
Well, they've done that a few times on their own.
Although their new album rocks. I love it.
Then they came out with this new merchandising scandal.
Which I got at Best Buy for $15.99. Or, yeah, it was $15.99.
No. $15?
No, it was $59.95.
I was going to say, this thing was $100 when it came out.
Yeah, I know. We got junk in there. The CDs are missing due to the fact we're holding everything. Yeah. It's now a storage. This is a crate. I use it as a crate. I've got all kinds of good junk in there. Candles and...
It actually looks like a real crate. This is where Thing from the Addams Family really lives. He stays in the little Metallica crate.
Yeah.
This was a little marketing scandal that they came out with.
Which people like me, and I'm sure some of you also bought.
Don't do that. Bang on the microphone.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry we banged on the microphone.
It came with a
3 CD set.
3 CDs?
3 of them.
3 CDs. Don't hold that up.
CDs.
It has a bad word written on it.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, actually, yeah, we can.
There you go. It's
live stuff. Binge and Purge.
Live stuff.
And it's got everything except it has too much of the Black Album songs on there, of course. But everybody does that when you.
But they were trying to milk it for all it's worth.
Well, you have to. When you put out an album, you're gonna have to milk it. Especially, Metallica will never sell 8 million records again. I don't care what anybody says. The new album when it comes out, which is supposed to be March, which it won't happen. Whoa, Metallica's falling down on us. Cool. Anyway, they're mad at me. Lars said, "Don't talk about me bad."
The ghost of Lars.
But the album will not come out in March like they say. It'll come out like in November. And I hear rumors.
Well, you know what? They didn't used to be into overdubs as much, but if you've ever seen Metallica live, you know.
Which if you haven't, you must.
Well, truthfully, Hetfield can't sing that well.
Of course not. He's not
live. I love him, but he wasn't all that great. I saw him with Guns N' Roses.
Well, see, you didn't see Metallica.
Of course, his arm was all burned up.
You did not see Metallica. This is when you should have seen Metallica. This was the And Justice for All tour, and that rocked. That was ultimate. Now I didn't see the Guns N' Roses thing.
Now this came with how many videos?
3 videos, 3 CDs. But luckily they included the old stuff. And Justice for All tour, and it had. I mean, that was great. That was the first time I saw Metallica from that tour where they had Queen's Rock opening. They were nothing then, and it was great. Everything was perfect at that time. Now I like I said, didn't see the Guns N' Roses. But you need to show everybody.
This also has a rewind. What do you call it?
Collage from
through the years
from whenever
TV stuff. It's worth getting just for the box set. You can find these at your flea markets. You
don't have to go pay $79.
You know, they're pretty easy to find. A lot of people
pay $59 like I did.
At your pawn shops, you know. It's still going to cost you at least $20-$30.
Well, the way I look at it, if you like Metallica, unless you come from the Black Album era, and I'm sure there's a lot of young guys that didn't know who Metallica was, until then. But it's worth it because it comes with a little book, it comes with a little tattoo sketch thing, and a little flag or something.
Crazy guy.
Crazy guy, some little stupid thing.
A lot of people seen this, Metallica, a year and a half in the life of part 1 and 2, which
another selling scheme.
It's not too bad. It's one of those things you watch once, you watch it once.
I have watched it twice. And it does have all the videos on it.
It has
Black Era.
It has all the videos from Black On. Well, that's basically it. But
all I had was one and Black On.
It's basically a home video
of them making the Black Album.
Of them making
the new album. I still call it, even though
the second video. The second one is better than the first one. The first one is pretty much all.
It shows them in the studio with Bob Rock, who, of course, Bob Rock did do a great job on production on that album. I'll give him credit, but Metallica's not meant to be produced, Bobby boy.
That's one of the things is once you get through watching this, you're never going to want to hear the Black Album again. Because
most of us don't want to hear it anyway.
They repeatedly show Enter Sandman live. They repeatedly show, what is it? Nothing Else Matters.
Nothing Else Matters.
Wherever I May Roam, over and over and over. This is Enter Sandman in Chicago, in New York, and blah, 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 until you just
Enter Sandman, I mean, you still play it on the radio, and you get the, it's cool to hear, but...
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean...
That's the only time I like to hear it, is when I'm driving down the road. You'll be going down the road, they've just had a great warrant marathon or something, and all of a sudden you hear,
Who are they?
And you just really get into it. But I never come home and take that CD and listen to it.
You know the sad thing?
They burned it out.
The sad thing, and I used Metallica back in my old room. I had a whole wall of Metallica. I mean, a whole wall. Unfortunately, we just added the Metallica pictures up here since this is the topic today. But it was about 2 weeks ago. The Eagle was playing I think Nothing Else Matters or one of the songs, and Q102 was playing one, and I flipped it on another channel. I didn't want to hear Metallica, and that's sad.
Yeah.
But it's like what they say on the back of this. We've seen all the commercial, this big old thing and all that, but of course they said we were never going to do a video, and then we done this, which is not your typical blank home video, done with high-tech camera production and sound, quite like we are,
Oh, yeah.
It's a complex compilation of bootleg footage and sneaky Metallica stuff shot for TV that was never used. But I mean, this is Metallica. This is the only video they should have ever put out. This was them, the way they should be, the way I hope they go back to being. I hope they say, to heck with everybody, to heck with the new fans and the people that didn't really care about us. We're Metallica, we're here to rock. But unfortunately, from what I heard from Dangerous Darren on the radio, the new album sounds more like Danzig, which is cool if you like Danzig, but come on, guys.
Well, it's
you're
taken
Metallica.
away. It's taken away from the point of what Metallica was. Now, Metallica is becoming the metalheads Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Yeah.
I mean, it's starting to get a little old.
Which, unfortunately, I have a lot of old Metallica shirts.
We're getting old also.
Yeah, especially me.
You. But, I mean...
Don't look a day over 17, though. Me, not you.
Oh.
Yeah, no, not you. Videobob here looks to be in his 40s already.
Well, I remember Metallica. I remember Metallica. I might could even get a headbang.
No hair anymore. Whiplash.
You got something else to do? We're on a hot date with Satan. So, you guys, what do you want to hear, man? Since you're still here, we must have played, or not played something you want.
Anything with devil. Anything with devil or Satan in it is good.
What?
That was done
People
on the last
throwing
tour.
each other. I want to see
Acting
fists
like a
flying
maniac.
and spit and blood
Whiplash.
and feet going, and
You know,
that's
that
just on
was-
stage. Imagine what's going on down in the mosh pit.
Oh, of course. And they had, on that tour, they had the little crazy look, stage, and they had the pit in the middle of it. That was a great tour until they hooked up with GNR.
Which
Got
brings us to
studio, the big thing.
Black Album. Where is that?
I threw it over there.
fat.
Yeah, the Black Album.
Diet.
The Black Album.
Pretty,
No, it's cool. The
it's
cover.
not as cool as like the Beatles' White Album, but I guess that's what they were trying to do.
You know, I finally are calling it the Black Album. I called it the new album up until the last few months, I guess, but
Yeah.
it's not new anymore. It came out in '91, and like I said, it's still selling. Who, like Lars said about 3 years ago, who hasn't bought this? It's still on the Billboard charts at 100. I looked today. Who in the heck hasn't bought this stupid album? Why is it still selling? You
Well,
got me on
that
it.
brings us to a new point. Metallica fans used to be an underground breed.
Yeah.
Back when metal,
You couldn't get in, neither.
heavy metal was metal.
Yeah.
The other metal was your spandex wearing, hairspray having, your he's gonna hate me for this, but your
No.
Motley Crue's.
Back then they were, but now
Okay,
they're
your
not.
Motley Crue, your
Motley Crue. Wait, well, let me just give a
Vixen
promo.
and Cat and
Vixen were cool. They were good to look at, though. They were all chicks.
Well,
you know,
you
could.
know.
The thing is, though, you couldn't tell back then.
But that's back when it was,
Was
more
Vixen
accessible.
chicks or was Poison chicks? I mean,
Yeah,
you didn't know.
Poison, Warrant, that was your radio stuff. Your metal stuff, the radio didn't go near. The only people who listened to metal were the people who were scary, that, old ladies locked their doors when they walked
Yeah.
by and they
Talking about-
huddled their children closer because we were some scary looking dudes, walking around. I mean, that's back when you're listening to, like, Number of the Beast and that kind of stuff. But that's when metal was metal.
Manowar, the great underground band Manowar, which you will never see a video of because they never made one. Manowar,
That's a different show, though.
yeah. We'll have to talk about Manowar.
But our point being is when this album came out, all of a sudden you started seeing all these little kids, these little stussy hat wearing, preppy, little 13-year-old
Goofies.
kids, little goofies, which you really can't blame them that they weren't old
That's
enough
right.
to get into it.
I mean-
but they're walking around going, yeah, like we're Metallica fans.
You know that,
now."
but still, I mean, the hardcores that were there back
Isn't
in San
Metallica's first
Francisco.
album cool?
But we're talking about them. But yeah, well, I actually saw a commercial for Kmart. It said the debut album from Metallica. It was,
What?
They changed it like 2 weeks later. I remember that.
Whoops.
We need to find that and show it.
And that was one of the downfalls of metal, because all the
Yeah.
other bands said, hey, Metallica, who is the gods of metal,
Yeah,
if they can do it, we can do it. We don't have to be
Heavy
heavy.
anymore.
Let's go for that commercial radio image. Let's go for the cash. Which, if I was in the situation, I'd go for the cash.
I wouldn't.
But I understand the situation.
It's music. It's all about the music. I mean, it should be about the music, but when you sell out, everybody sells out eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Everybody
like
but
punk
one
bands.
band, Slayer. They've never sold out. They never will.
That's right. That's a different show.
That's a different show.
But it takes us to another point, which is why we're having a downfall. And a lot of people think this is silly, but this was the Armageddon day.
That and Kurt Cobain was the Armageddon.
Well, screw Kurt Cobain.
I'm telling you, that's everybody that listen. I mean, all the wimpos that listen to the Wimpo, Bon Jovis, and them, they all went away.
Nirvana was something totally different.
Yeah, but that's true.
That was your
But what I'm
crazy
getting
weather.
to is your radio heavy metal, like you said, Warrant and them, they died off, and then your heavier heavy metal, they kind of lost their underground because. I mean, I'll admit to you, I started out
underground
listening
disappeared.
to the radio heavy metal, White Snake videos, all the chick thing, but that got you to real heavy metal.
I mean, how dumb is it to not have an underground?
But the top, I mean, you got to have the commercial top to get, unless you just start very at the bottom with the local guys. But most of your people are going to start at the commercial and fall to where you belong. But there's no longer a commercial heavy metal. Thus, the hardcore underground is dying off. I mean, like Motorhead, they were just here Friday and nobody knew it. Lemmy's 50, by the way, and that's another story too. But I mean, your underground, like Motorheads and that, it's no longer around because that album pretty much made Metallica mainstream. And thus, it left everybody else behind. And they are now the commercial guy. They took Warrant's place. People are going to shoot me for that, but Metallica took Warrant's place. Instead of Janie Lane on the radio, it's now Hetfield and Lars. And that's sad.
So, basically, the fall of the local scene, too, is what...
That's because Phil and the boys got big and never came back.
Well, no, it's not...
Even though Daryl's still here. We love you, Daryl.
That's a different show.
Of course.
That's next week. Basically, without a local scene, there can't be a national scene.
Yeah.
Because if people aren't into it locally,
Yeah.
if they're not going out to the clubs and seeing the bands and getting into metal,
Yeah.
they're not going to take, when their paycheck comes, they're not going to run down to the store and pick up a CD.
That's true.
You know, they're going to say, oh, really, I really like this metal stuff. They're just going to listen to the radio and see what the radio's playing.
And now, I mean, and like I said, instead of getting, and this brings another, like I said, this is off the subject, but it gets to the point, you listen to the commercial alternative music today, and it gets you to the underground alternative, which is actually disguised heavy metal, some of this stuff. I mean, it's grinding, and it's moshing, and it's heavy metal, it's just a different form of it. And unfortunately, that's about all we got left anymore, the underground.
Well, you know, even if you, people don't want to go out to the clubs anymore, because... For one,
there's nothing worth seeing.
If you're in the local band, we're going to give you some free advice to what's going to happen.
You better listen to us, because I predicted a lot of these little bands that are now big and gone or whatever.
That's right. Something that's important is you have to know that you have to admit to yourself, but still have confidence that you suck.
Yeah.
As long as you know you suck, but you have confidence that you're going to get better.
Everybody sucks.
You walk around with that big puffed out chest. And
I remember back
you know how bad you are.
Getting back to Pantera, back when they played Joe's, they sucked. But I saw them at the convention center on New Year's Eve.
But they knew that they were going to keep going.
But now they're great. As a matter of fact, I love that concert because musically they've grown.
Yeah, well, back when they were in spandex and stuff, they weren't all that great.
Of course not.
And they kept going until they got better.
And now,
what's also important is a stage show. I mean, I know you've heard this gimmicks and stuff. But look at the wall behind. All these people have their own gimmick, like Kiss.
Especially, you can't see the Kiss up there, but Kiss, they invented the gimmick back in the 70s. They invented the gimmick, and they're still milking the gimmick.
Yeah, but here you have these bands walking up on stage with just a bill cap, a t-shirt, jeans, smoking a cigarette and a beer. Okay, this one's entitled... The drum beats are the same.
And that's it.
That's the song. You know, come on, please.
That's not music.
You're gonna have
that's
a
noise.
gimmick. You know, get and a car. Some of you may not be aware of this, but they've invented other instruments besides guitars, basses, and drums.
There you go.
There are keyboards and synthesizers. Which,
and see,
if used
keyboards
properly,
have always been around in metal. Like Iron Maiden used them, Dio used them. And those were the
all the way from Rush to Dream Theater.
Yeah. Now look at Dream
Theater. They
are
acceptable if you use them right.
Now, if you get up there and start playing the piano and get up there and start singing "I love you," you know, and all. Said the word there. Can we say that? We'll bleep it out if we can. But all the you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
But if you use keyboards right, they're great.
Which, you know,
9 Inch Nails is a perfect example.
Violins, you know?
That's another show too, even though we don't know much about them. But
they're pretty much all technical. But you know, your violins, trumpets, get creative. You know, get little things you play.
Like Sodom a Go-Go.
Yeah, you know.
From Gore. I mean, those are trumpets right there.
There's a local band, Ritual Misery. These guys are friends of mine, and I'm not just trying to plug them, but
I've heard them, and they're good.
They're good, and they all live together in one house and eat macaroni and cheese. Drive around in a
black hearse.
But they live like rats, so that they have enough money
to
buy stage stuff.
If you listen to like Metallica, when they start out, they live like rats. They
spend all their money. You know, John Mitchell, who works with ACS Sound, they spend all their money on sound equipment, lighting, lasers, friggin' lights that do smoke machines.
Yeah.
They got pyrotechnics.
Now that's what's
the
good.
pyro.
I mean,
they got fire going off and lights coming down. And
that's what I was telling you.
That's why they've got such a good following. They've been out since, the late 80s, and of course they may not be signed now. That's because of their own personal differences. I mean, the only things that will ruin a band, as anybody can tell you, would be either money, which is usually caused by a girl, or drugs. You know, if you're in a band and you're doing drugs and you got a girlfriend, you're never going to make it.
That's true. And unfortunately, that's what demised a lot of the bands.
Because the women are going to keep you from practicing or whatever. Why are you always going to
why you get
the drugs is going to just screw you up altogether.
Yeah.
There's no way to go. And if you have any kind of business sense to make it as a band, that's
and listen to the gods on that, like Steven Tyler. He'll tell you all about it. I mean, they'll tell you. Even my buddy Nicky Six. I mean,
wait till you get really famous to start going on coke benders.
Yeah, and then
when you've got a couple bill and it's
but listen to the guys that have been there and tell. I mean, that's true. You can be a local band and be all drugged out, and you're never going to accomplish anything. You're just going to be.
Some people don't take it seriously. Oh, we're just having fun.
Yeah, they're out for. It used to be back in the glam days. They were after chicks. They were after money. But I mean, that's all it was just the whole sex market of it. But they got even some of them guys made it like Poison and made it big. But where are they now? Where are you at now, Brett? No, Twisted Sister's a different story, and that's a different show also.
Yeah, I mean,
But he wasn't out for women. D is so ugly. He could never get a woman, even if he had a
I don't know
million
what he
bucks.
was out for.
I don't know. He might have been out for.
But the point is, a show, and
else.
Metallica still delivered a show. I mean, other than just musically, I mean, they had a stage presence.
And
you have
Hetfield,
to have
whether you want
stage
to, whether you want to
presence.
admit it or not, Hetfield became a pretty good lead man too. I mean, he could get the crowd working, and he couldn't do that as much in the olden days. Now he can
And
get
getting
the
the
crowd
crowd working means more than going up and going, "Is anybody drunk? Yeah!
Yeah!
Right, we're gonna party! Get up and mosh, man!
Let me see you out
You guys
there.
wanna rock?" You know, that,
Rock and roll.
Yeah,
That's not the way to do it. I
that
mean, you
ain't
gotta
it.
have a.
watch some Metallica videos. Hey, you know, if you're gonna rip somebody off, Metallica's the people to do it.
Yeah, they're the kings of rip-off. I mean, they went from this, we'll never make another video after this, to
You don't want to be a cover band.
the $99. Yeah,
You know,
but I mean, I like doing that to the microphone.
But so basically, if you're a local band, that's the thing to check out. Is there any other videos you want to watch here?
Let's see here. Where's the Seattle stuff from the and just? Well, let's look at this.
We're not real prepared.
Well, we don't. I mean, Metallica's not supposed to have videos.
The point of this whole conversation was to be.
You know, this is what everybody's going to argue with me about. There's only one song off of the Black Album that's real Metallica, heart to heart. The ballad. Nothing else matters. The lyrics are Metallica. The song is slow, but the lyrics are Metallica. We could show that. Get everybody asleep, you know. Or why don't we just show Inner Sandman?
If they haven't killed themselves or if they're not asleep now.
We'll really put you to sleep. Or we could show Inner Sandman and really bore you to death. Or why don't we show something real?
MTV.
Why don't we show something real? Why don't we show
Gotta be
Master of
something clean
Puppets?
that's no cussing and stuff.
Master of Puppets. There's no cussing in Master of Puppets.
Master of Puppets. This is Master of Puppets. You see, that's what I'm talking about.
Master of Puppets, if I had to pick one Metallica song and stick with it, I think it would have to be Master of Puppets. I've always loved that song. Even though I was just a little dweeb, I didn't know nothing about Metallica, I love that song. There's just something to that song. I don't know, it's just...
What did you look like when you was a little dweeb? Let's look at the picture of you when you was a little dweeb.
Oh, we don't want to do that, do we?
Oh, look at you. Oh, man. Long hair and all. And you're wearing a Metallica shirt.
Oh, yeah. That was later down the line, though.
Yeah.
I was kind of an older little dweeb then.
But, I mean, you know.
I was 12 in there, and I'm now, what, 15 now, so...
What are you, 20s something? Oh, by the way, if there's any real nice rock chicks out there, we're both single.
Yeah.
Party on.
Swing, swing. We're not worthy. You know. Yeah.
But
what else is there to say about Metallica besides, regardless of what you want to say, they are going to always be remembered as one of the biggest and most popular and famous heavy metal bands ever exist. And if anybody had to make it, of any of the guys from that era, I'm really glad to see that they did, because, I mean, they worked. I mean, a lot of, especially from the late 80s, a lot of these bands got signed to record deals on their first attempt. They didn't do clubs for all these years like they did. They didn't go through hell like Metallica did. They went through it, and they made it. And now they're the kings of what they wanted to be. And that's good.
what do you predict for their new album?
It won't sell 8 million records. That much is known.
You think?
There's no way.
Because you don't think that some of these, new sprung Metallica fans,
Well, I mean,
way back,
I can't believe how a lot of the bands of, like our buddies here, Anthrax, I can't believe how they fell from glory. I mean, Anthrax had
I never
built
really
up...
got into Anthrax.
Well-
I mean, they came and went. But
Well, Anthrax have gotten musically about 150 times better with John Bush from Armored Saint. He's a great singer. Joey Belladonna, the old singer, was not that great. Of course, he just opened for Motorhead here Friday that we missed, but
yeah.
he's not that. But I mean, I would have thought that Anthrax would have sold a jillion records, but they didn't. So I mean, and I've seen like bands, well, like Motley Crue, my favorite band, for instance. Dr. Feelgood sold like hotcakes, and the last album didn't sell worth a darn. Of course, everything changed. They're a new band. They're different.
They tried to do that double album. He was dumb enough to buy both of them.
Yeah, that's because I made my little picture over there, which we can't see. But that's a different story. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, Motley Crue had been popular for years and years, and then of course there's a big difference. They fired Wimpo Vince. Metallica's still Metallica right now, but I don't know. I think the album is going to sell huge for the first 2 weeks, and then it might kind of dwindle down. And then when the tour gets going, it'll probably pick up
Here's
again.
a big question: are you gonna buy it?
I'll tell you what, if I hear the first song on the Eagle and it sounds wimpy, I won't buy it. But I will see him in concert. I will always see him in concert, except for that GNR thing, because I was too
Think they're
lazy
gonna
to go
support
to
it with a
Texas
tour?
Stadium. Oh, of course. Metallica, they will probably tour for 3 years for it. They did for this last album, I think. It was about 3 years. They will support it, and I don't know who they'll get to open for them, but whoever it is will be some lucky people, to get to open for
Yeah, you
Metallica.
never know. I mean, I went to the Clash of the Titans. What was that? 89,
Yeah. It was,
90 maybe.
when was that? It was
I think it might have been 89.
It was about the Rust in Peace era for Megadeth, so whatever that was.
Yeah, it was somewhere in there. The Alice in Chains opened. Then it was Slayer,
Anthrax, and then Megadeth.
and then Megadeth. And when Alice in Chains played, nobody had
was
any
like,
idea
"No way,
who
yeah."
they were. They finally got mad in the middle of the set because nobody was paying attention. He threw down the microphone and walked off the stage, if anybody remember that. And he was hanging out outside by like the nacho stand,
Yeah.
just eating a hot dog. And I walked up and talked to him. And he was surprised that I recognized him from being on the stage. Nobody paid any
Everybody,
attention to
when
him.
they played Man in the
And then look
Box,
what happened.
everything.
Yeah, I think I do recognize that.
Well, that's like a lot of the like.
Gamma Side was playing the outer part,
Yeah.
and there was more people watching Gamma Side
Than
than
Alice
there was
in
watching Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains got bored, walked off stage, walked outside, and watched Gamma Side. I mean, how dumb was that?
Yeah. Where is Gamma Side now? Are they still around?
Oh, they split up and reformed, and
All these
some of the
local
members went
guys.
out to Hammer Witch. Remember that?
I remember Hammer Witch, yeah.
And Wayne of Hammer Witch now he has a recording studio and a sign shop over in Arlington. And
A lot of the local guys, I wonder what happened to them. I mean,
surprisingly enough, most of them, like yourself, have become computer nerds. I can't understand,
Well, that's
somebody
like,
from an airhead rock and roll generation just becoming, computer geeks. Everybody, all of them I know are all computer nerds now.
Well, all of our metal crew from Carter Riverside High School, most of them went in the Navy, and they're all pretty much computer nerds too. One of them works at Lockheed now. I mean, but
Goes to show you that your brain won't turn to mush.
the heavy metal crowd all ended up being something. I mean, everybody amounted to something pretty much, with the exception of Videobob here, who's Videobob now. But he didn't come from our area anyway. He's a youngster here in this. But I mean, everybody did not go out and commit suicide and go kill people. And it was all the preppy nerds. I think they're all now in jail and
They're working at Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. But I mean, all the local
We
guys,
got it out of our system.
with the exception of Phil and the boys, I guess everybody else is just computer nerds and stuff. Of course, Joe's Garage being no longer around. Ab, you better open it back up. That didn't help things.
Yeah, there's pretty much nowhere to go. All we can say is, if you truly like heavy metal,
Don't turn on it. Don't forget it. Support it.
support it. Which means watching shows like, my Underground Connection that also comes on this channel. But doing more than that, going to the clubs,
If you can find one.
supporting the band.
You gotta support your local guys, or I mean, you won't have a national singing.
Pick
which
up
you don't
an
really.
Observer, Green Sheet, or whatever. Find out
And-
who's doing what. Go see some new guys.
And if you
Support
wanna,
them.
if you wanna keep up with the national acts,
if people are dumb enough to protest
let me tell you,
tuna fish
buy-
because of the Dolphins, you can damn sure go out and watch a heavy metal.
buy the CDs for the big guys. I mean, when even though we've just down them for the past 30 minutes, still buy Metallica's album, buy Megadeth, Anthrax, even some of the wimpier guys, like even though I don't call them wimpy, Queensryche, don't turn on them. Buy their CDs, otherwise the record labels are going to fire them like they did all the glam boys like Warrant and Poison, and then
Now, we're not saying that you can't be open to new music.
no, I mean like right there, I love 9 Inch Nails now.
Oh, they rock.
Yeah,
They have replaced who are they equivalent to now? I don't know.
I don't either. But like the Smashing Pumpkins, I have all of a sudden fallen for the we do believe he is a homosexual that sings for him. Don't know his
Little
name.
Oriental buddy wearing a dress. I'm really not into them.
But I mean, I like some of the 90s. That's what I like, the vampire bit. But I mean, you can keep. I mean, don't turn into a hippie, a 80s hippie. Keep up with the 90s music. Listen.
Metallica has become our Leonard Skinner, where it was, how you make fun of these old guys going, play some Skinner, man. I mean, that's gonna be us
Play some
at a
Metallica.
9 Inch Nails thing or something, yelling at the opening cover band to play one, man.
Play someone, man.
Yeah,
Please,
someone,
play
dude.
someone. Yeah, but keep up with. But I mean, Megadeth are still. I mean, they're from the '80s, but they're still '90s. They kept up with times, and they still rock. As far as I'm concerned, better than they ever did. They didn't. Now, people might say they sold out, but I don't think they ever got close to it. I mean, they've done some softer songs, but they didn't ever put out no love ballads, which, of course, hopefully Metallica never will. If I ever hear the word love come out of Hetfield's head, I don't know what'll happen. I'll choke him. I'll choke him out.
It'll be a belt around the shower.
But you got to keep up with the local scene and the national scene. Support the big guys. I mean, don't support some of these wimpos. I mean,
Yeah, instead of wearing that stupid No Fear shirt, which everybody knows you're scared of everything, go find an old Metallica shirt, because it's going away, and otherwise it's going to be the butt of people's jokes, eventually.
like Winger and Warren is now.
Yeah,
I
like
can
I
remember.
watch Beavis and Butthead. I remember when Winger used to be a cool band.
I remember I actually liked Winger. Of course, everybody did at that time that was in the scene that I was in.
Oh my God!
It was after the Chicks is what it was. But I mean now, Winger is a joke. I hate to see Metallica and Megadeth become a joke. It would make me sad. But then of course you got the bands like Iron Maiden and Judas
10 years,
Priest.
our kids are going to be watching the Metal Preservation 90s Society.
But look at Iron Maiden
There's
and
two
Judas
albums set,
Priest.
1995.
They haven't turned into the butt of jokes. They went back to the underground, especially Maiden. They've got a new album out now, and I suggest everybody buy it. It's called The X Factor. They went back. They went. They finally hit the commercial level. They're back underground. So I mean, the heavy metal will never die. I mean, like Steve Harris, people like that will never let it die, even if there's only 2 people in the audience. But you gotta support your bands. You don't want to turn into a 80s hippie, but yeah.
Exactly. Well, hey, I'm Videobob.
I'm me, CT.
Carl Todd. And make sure and watch my show, Underground Connection, on this channel. We show, not necessarily Metallica, we deal with underground stuff. Gore, Dred Zeppelin.
And see, you turned me on to Dred Zeppelin.
Well, there's a lot
used
of
to
bands
hate
that are
Dred
trying to
Zeppelin.
be commercial, but they're not making it, but they are cool. Like Clawfinger. This is a rock. They kind of got that rap kind of.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Kind of like
it's
the
worth buying.
old Faith No More era back when they were in that. That kind of reminds me of that before they turned into.
That Mr. Bungle
whatever.
thing is really wacky if you're into techno.
Yeah, his Christmas present.
Wild stuff. I was listening to it today. But watch Underground Connection and support local metal. And we're not going to do these conversations all the time, but keep an eye out for them, because I'm sure, like this one, you found it somewhat informative. And if you hadn't learned anything about Metallica,
we wasn't going to do a history lesson. I could do that.
If you didn't learn anything, then
I can tell you where it started and where it ended. But yeah, you should know that. If you like the Black Album,
this
and
is like history.
If you're a youngster that started out on that album, and I know a lot of them went out and bought Kill 'Em All, and they love it more than we do. I mean, because we wasn't there back in San Francisco, in the clubs, but so we can't really blame the youngsters that went out. But I still say they'll never sell 8 million records again. Never.
Oh, who's to know?
Of course, everybody said the same thing about Def Leppard back in the early 80s. Well, I forget the name. Pyromania sold like 4 million records. They were like, everybody said, oh, there's something. They came back and sold 12 million of their next album. So maybe Metallica will put out something heavy and intense, and people will go crazy. And
who knows? They might surprise us. We'll find out.
We'll find
when
out.
It does. We'll critique it.
When and if it ever comes out, which is an if sometimes, we'll critique it. But I won't buy it if the first song sounds sorry.
Well, I'm Videobob. Make sure you watch Underground Connection. We're going to leave you with some Metallica stuff.
See you later.